Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the QT2 Systems podcast series, the coaches of QT2. I'm Reem Jishi, and I'm the content director for QT2, and our featured coach today is Coach Sadie Laughlin. Welcome, Sadie.
Hi, Reem.
So glad to have you today.
Yeah, this is great.
So Sadie, I'm going to start out just simple question, then we're going to back up and get into all the details of your story. So just tell me when you came on to QT2 first as an athlete and then as a coach.
I came on as an athlete in 2017. It was early in the summer, and then I actually became a coach within that same year. So towards the end of 2017.
Okay. And you coach now with QT2 Run, which was the run formula before, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to start out with you on your athletic journey. So can you talk about how you started running and just give some history on that?
Sure. Well, I grew up playing team sports, which I loved. And then I think it was more like in my mid-20s that I started running for fitness. And that sort of took me through my 30s, just doing some small local races, more just for the community, to enjoy the community aspect of it. And then I think really wasn't until I was about 40 that I really got into wanting to sign up for longer distances, and doing a half marathon and thinking about doing a marathon. So that's sort of when my more serious running started. So I think, like 4 or 5 years into my running, I loved racing. More than racing, I love the lifestyle aspect of running, running with a group on the weekends and things like that. But the more I got into wanting to do like a PR, I would do these cookie cutter running plans, from the internet, and sort of do that thing where you pick it by the time that you want to your goal time, and not really realizing whether or not I was really ready for that. So what ended up happening was, even though I loved having running part of my life, I was gradually overtraining more and more, and sort of running myself into the ground. And after a big race, like where I was just giving it my all, or even a weekend run when I was running with people that were going too fast for what I could really do, my body was giving out. Like I could do the run, but then I would be in bed for half the day or in the bathroom for half the day, just like literally destroying my GI. So when it got to be, I had a DNF at the Sugarloaf Marathon, and it was only halfway into the marathon, and I got tunnel vision. My whole body started to collapse, getting really sick. Is that from that experience, I realized, this, for a long time, I thought it was just me. That was the balance was going to be, you get to go out and run hard and race hard, but then you're going to get really sick. But then even my husband was like, you can't keep doing this to yourself. Is it really worth it? So I did a review of my running life. And I thought, you know what, I need to change something up. I'm missing something, obviously. And I want to run for the long haul. It's a big part of my life. It brings me a lot of happiness. So at that point, I reached out to Jackie Miller, and she's been a coach with QT2 for over 10 years. And I've known her for a long time. And I said, I need to do something different. And she's like, you know what, you got to come try QT2. I think you're going to love it. And it's a different style of training than I'd ever tried. And once I changed the way I trained and learned all the other details that comes with being a healthy runner, it changed everything for me. And I never got sick again. So it changed my life. I've just been excited ever since. So.
Awesome. All right. I want to get into unpack some of those details though. So what coach did you work with when you came to QT2?
With Beth Peterson. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so what What did she do that was different than what you were doing before?
I learned to slow down, the long runs I think I basically was, every time I left the door, I was running race pace. And then with Beth, it was learning that I could actually just enjoy the run, slowing down and then running faster when it was time to run faster. And that balance, and the details. It was the fueling, the focusing on the fueling, the daily nutrition, the mobility, and a lot of it was the strength. It just never really being a big part of my training. So it was learning all of those things and how important they all are, and you need all of that, plus the run. So yeah, it was all of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a good running plan isn't just, all right, I'm running 5 days a week and I'm going
right
every day, right?
Yeah. There was detail.
Yeah. And Beth is so good about forcing you to slow down,
Yeah. And I just realized I was enjoying running even more. Yeah. So it was the excitement of having a marathon training plan and just thinking, wow, of course I had a goal time and all that, but I realized with this kind of training that when Beth was training me that the focus was, just do the workout for the day. And then the next day, just do that one and you will get there, sort of like it's a process. Be patient. And she's got a great sense of humor. So, there was it was learning a new way of training, but then it was fun. I was having a good time. Yeah. So, and my body felt great. So that's the biggest.
And what do you think of having the feedback? Because that's another piece, right? When you do a plan online, there's no feedback. Well, Beth is great about responding really quickly.
So fast. Of just if you have a question, she was there for you. Yeah, definitely. And always there to answer your questions. And I never felt like there was a dumb question, whether it be I don't, it could be, I don't understand why you want me to drink sports drink instead of water, and that, to me, that was a big one. Just that, just changing that, learning how to drink and hydrate properly on the run. So I could ask her anything. Mm-hmm. And that was really helpful. Yeah.
So you said you moved you joined as an athlete in earlier 2017. By the end of that year, you were coaching.
Yeah.
So talk to me about that process, how you decided to go from an athlete to a coach.
Yeah. Well, and I had an interest in coaching a couple of years before. So I got the USAT level 1 and I got the Roadrunners, the RCA certification. But I was still looking for a good place to apply it. And that along with, back in 2008 or 2009, I had taken a sprint triathlon camp with Jackie, the QT2 coach, and Eric Call. And that experience of having a coach along with the experience with Beth, that I realized, okay, this is going to be a great place to apply all of that, because I loved kind of watching what they got to do and helping athletes bring out their best, but also be as healthy and strong as, so that you have a better performance. I knew from learning from my mistakes, and the joy I get from being in the community of athletes, that I love the idea of helping people dig deeper than they ever had before. And so I wanted to become a coach, and I wanted to be a coach with a place where I have so much admiration for the coaches that are already here. And there's always something to learn. And I knew I could learn more and more from all the other coaches. So that's kind of how I joined. Yeah, and got the interest in coaching.
Okay. And as a coach, how much do you think your coaching style is influenced by Beth or Jackie and Eric or the, other coaches that you've learned from?
Yeah, I think a big one was enjoy yourself. That's this is stuff we get to do for fun. This is an addition to our lives. And what my experience I had with them, it was like I had so much support as an athlete from them that sometimes it's just those small moments, that you actually, they stay with you for 10 years or more. And you can sort of, it's like a little library. I call it like the library of greatness, where you can kind of go back to that and go, you know what, that was sort of life-changing. Even it was like a small moment, like going into an open water swim and literally just almost panicking, but when I looked over the shore, there's Eric Call, and he's just looked at me like, oh no, you don't, like, you can do it. Just keep going. And I did it. And it wasn't pretty, it was a side stroke. It was just looked awful, but I did it. And then you never know, like when you come out of the water, like what else that will lead to. And it doesn't matter what age we are. I mean, you just get excited for the next big thing. And I really enjoy being part of that adventure with runners. Because you never know what you can do, So with a little help and some support and having fun and letting go, it's a great time. Yeah.
So let's talk about the athletes and the type of athletes do you work with? Is there a type of athlete? I mean, other than runners, right? You go.
Yeah. Because I mainly do it with runners, but mainly beginners and intermediate. I consider myself an intermediate runner. I'm an age grouper. I run to test myself. I might not. So a lot of my my runners have great goals and they want to seek PRs, and some of them they have a goal, but they also say, I want to run for a long time. So I think I'm a good fit as far as for a runner who wants all of that. I like to build happy, strong runners, because that's what I consider myself. So I feel like with my skill set, that's what I'd like to help pass on, and help you with. So
who doesn't want to be a happy, strong
runner? I know. Right. And sometimes you just need a little help from somebody else to remind you of the things that take, that help you get to that point. Right. So it could be, a sense of humor. It could be helping you with like the leap of faith of trying some new things, helping you, it could be helping you slow down a little bit in order to get faster. And sometimes it sounds simple, but it's not always easy to do. Yeah. We can get things set in our minds, and then it's nice to have help somebody with a different approach, whether it be daily reminders or helping with the mental aspect of, if I can help them change their mindset a little bit, you can have a completely different day. The race is a completely different experience. So those are the kind of runners I love. Yeah. So back to like what kind of runners I usually work with, type. Beginners and intermediates. And beginners, it's like, everything's so exciting because it's all new and it's a big goal, and it's really exciting to be there when they accomplish that, because you never forget those, like they say. I mean, there's some of those, like the first time you do this distance or that distance, you tend to remember that race the most. Yeah.
So the beginner runner is an interesting one, because I think most beginner runners will say, well, I'm just a beginner, so I don't need a coach.
Yeah.
So what's your response to that? I mean, how important do you think coaching is for a beginner?
Yeah, I think it's really important. Kind of going back to like the things that I had to learn, even though I'd been running for, 15 years. I still didn't, I wasn't paying attention to, whether you want a foam roll and doing the warm up and doing a little cool down and eating so that your body has the energy to go out and do the run, and fueling. So for beginners, I would say, yeah, even if it's a run walk, it's going to take all these other aspects of your training to do well. Because I see a lot of beginners and I almost see them, they just go out and run really hard and they don't realize, you actually could enjoy this more if you just had some helpful hints, and again, in order to set you up, help this person set themselves up so they can run for, again, a long time. Because, we all try to stay injury free. Running is tough on the body. So, it can happen, and it does happen, but you can really, if you really focus on all those other aspects, you'll stay as injury free as possible. So that's a big one, because, just helping somebody go through some of those lessons, I think is great. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things I think is interesting about a beginner, right? They say, I want to do a 5K, and the 5K is in 12 weeks from now. So they go out and they find the whatever old pair of running shoes they had, and they get out and they're like, I'm just going to run as hard.
I'm just going to go run. Right.
And then they can't move for a week.
Right. Yeah.
A lot better than that. Like my first run that I'll give a beginner is like, walk for 10 minutes. For the next 10 minutes, alternate a minute run, a minute walk, and then walk for 10 minutes,
Right.
Start there, because then you get through it and it'll be fine. And then,
yeah, you don't want to burn yourself out before you even get to the start line.
Yeah. It's like, the race isn't tomorrow. It's 2 weeks from now, and I always felt like beginner runners fall into 3 categories. It's either I'm doing this because it's a bucket list, whatever it is, 5K, 10K, half, whatever it is. It's my bucket list, do it and done. Or it's, I'm signing up for it, but I never actually get there.
Yeah, right. Almost like they don't believe they can really do it.
Always is somewhere.
Yeah.
Or there's the running for lifestyle, and the experience that you have at the beginning with running can decide that, right? You can always come back to it later, but if you start out with a good experience, then chances are you're going to stick with it.
Right. Or if somebody thinks, well, I don't want to sign up for coaching because I'm not a runner yet. Yeah. But, anyone who, like they say, it's like, if you go out the door and you run, walk, you're a runner, and sometimes, like you just said, you sign up for the 5K and you do that 5K. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, okay, I really love this. And I do want to do it for the long haul, but I didn't realize that before because it seemed too big, the thought of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I think we've touched on it a little bit, but talk to me about your coaching philosophy or approach.
Yeah. I think probably at the front of it is teaching or helping them with consistency. Consistency, I would say consistency, being patient with yourself, and practicing a positive mindset, or, like a strong mindset. So whatever that is to you, because it kind of goes back to what I was saying, is that especially with like a marathon, if you put in all the training and it's the race day, it's the mindset that's really going to get you through. It's the belief that you did everything that you could do to prepare yourself for today. And then I believe the mind is, that's what keeps you calm at the beginning. And then that's what gets you to dig deeper than you ever have, or, sort of like, I know that you want to dig deep, and it's giving yourself the opportunity to do that throughout the whole race. So those 3 things are sort of at the forefront. And, also I like to have a sense of humor. I want to keep things light, and help people like stay flexible and adapt. Cause again, that's another thing along with the mindset for racing, or not even if it's a race, if it's just an event, it's something that you just feel like doing, being flexible and adapting. I feel like you're prepared for anything, so.
So when you work with beginners and they're doing their first marathon, at some point in the process, they're saying, can't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you hear that. So what do you say? Because as you just talked, your coaching philosophy was about building that strong mind. So how do you take the doubt and address it and change it to the belief?
Yeah. Because I think it would depend if it's like in training, which I've, sometimes they have doubt during the middle of the training, then I would say, well, what can we do it's again, believing in the process. So kind of letting go of other stuff and just saying, all right, I just have to believe that if I just do this daily thing, do the workouts. And that also takes patience with yourself, also helping them, the idea of the leap of faith. Sometimes that's all it is. So if it's like, it's on race day and they know they've done all the work, but they're putting a tremendous amount of pressure on themselves. So they've got doubt, like, I don't know, I missed that long run. And then that's all they can think about, or what about, I ate something funny 3 days ago or whatever. So it's also that leap of faith, which I know, like Tim Snow, I would read the forums when I was learning to be a coach, and he would use that phrase quite a bit. And it really resonated with me, and it stayed with me, is that it's sort of the exciting part of it when you have doubt. It's like, well, wait, I can just let this go. Now, it's not always easy. So if there's things I can help with finding that answer for you, whether it be you have somebody as a support to go to the race with you, or the race is about to start, just say hi to the person next to you, because basically everyone is just as nervous. It's just for different reasons, and even that little moment, it can change it all up for you. So if I can help them with when they have doubts, just figure out what can you do in practice when that comes up? How are you going to sort of step into it? It's going to be there. And if you learn how to sort of step through it and come out on the other side, you'll have a lot more fun. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite things is to tell people to race, to think about the race, the story that they want to tell after the race, and then that way.
That's a great idea.
And usually the story isn't, I dropped off to mile 16 because
I know that's a great one.
It's usually not bad. So,
right. I love that. I love that. Yeah, because it's like, wait, I know I can do it because I've done it. It's that, I love that phrase. Everyone has their race mantra, and mine was usually, I've been here before. So with that, like, if you said, hey, what's going to be your story? You could be like, well, wait, I've been here before. I know I can do it. That's great. I love that.
Yeah. So, how about coaching? Is there a coaching challenge or something, either whether it was a specific athlete or a situation that comes up when you coach that is challenging to you?
I would think what comes up, the two that come up the most are when someone sort of self-sabotages, themselves. And, sometimes it's the hey, you're going to have to slow down, and sort of teaching the foundational part. So a lot of, some runners come in and it's tough to slow down, but then, and so I have to, you can explain it and you can talk about, but a lot of the stuff you have to experience it. So you just have to, again, got to give it a try. And then they realize, like, slowing down, you're going to actually get faster, and stronger. So those two, and the self-sabotage is I just try to get to know the athlete better and figure out where is this coming from, So those are probably the two that come up the most. Yeah.
Do you think that an athlete realizes that they're self-sabotaging?
No, right. No. A lot of times it's like, well, no, this is why, and to them, it's something outside of themselves. Mm-hmm. So yeah. And then I think that's maybe they don't even realize that's why they reached out to get some coaching, is that they want help with that part, because they know what they want. Like, I want to experience this way, and I want to have a great race. And, but they're having a tough time stepping out of that on their own. So, it's like going to a group run, and it's different when you run with a group of people. You might sort of let go of any of the fears you had running with them or whatever, because all of a sudden you're just running together and you get to all feed off that great positive energy, and it changes things up. And you didn't even know it was going to, So, yeah.
Yeah, the group run is the running community is so positive.
Yeah.
I love that. It's just everyone's cheering each other on, and you're all there, so.
Yeah.
So what would you say from the other standpoint, from the positive standpoint, the success standpoint? What's the success?
I love when, what makes me happy as a coach is when an athlete, after their big race or any race, even if it's the longest run they've ever done, it's when their feedback is, I've never felt so well prepared, but so strong. And again, I'm just going to say strong and happy, because it's like, they're just elated. Like, wait, I did that, but it worked out even better than I thought it would. So even if it's not a PR, it could be a PR, or it could just be them sort of, it's a new level of fitness for them, it's all encompassing. Because then I know from there, it just gets better, so I love that. I love when they can call me and say, I did so great and I felt so good. It doesn't have to be like you felt great the entire way, but you came out of any challenges, and so that's what makes me feel good. Yeah. As a coach.
Nice.
Yeah.
So changing subjects a little bit.
Yeah.
You're a runner, you're a coach, but you do so much more in your life. Tell me about the other hats that you wear.
I think the other hats, I'm an artist. I do some freelance illustration work. So that's kind of fun, because they feel like that my running world feels very different from the art world. And yet there's what is it? I thoroughly enjoy doing positive work. Like, I think my work is considered sort of like happy art. And so even though they're really different, I feel really fortunate to have these two different worlds where I have a sense of freedom, so I am the type of the running world. I love to go out and go for a run and be in nature, or see landscapes I haven't seen, or run with people and have great conversations. And then the art world, it's more alone time and a focused, and I enjoy creating art that makes people happy. I think I feel like that's my purpose. So even though they're really different, I like creating happy art for the world to see. And then I also like creating strong, happy runners. So. And I spend a lot of time with my family. So I live close to my parents, and I enjoy spending time with them. This is an important time for them. And so getting quality time with family. So all of that. Yeah.
And you're a twin too, right?
I'm a twin, and my twin lives nearby. And it was really my twin that again, like when we turned 40, that was a time I had moved away from the area. And so we would choose running events, or I did a couple triathlons, and we would meet up at different places. And that's how we would catch up and visit and have these incredible fun adventures together. So we went to, Twin Cities Marathon in Minneapolis, or we would meet in Chicago, or I'd come back down to Florida and do events here and see there's a great community down here of athletes. So, but it was my twin that really got that rolling. She was like, let's do this, or, hey, I'm going to do that. And I was like, well, I want to do it, and I would not have done some of the events I did without her coming up with the idea and being like, let's go do it. It was great.
That's good. It's nice sometimes to be the one that doesn't have to come up with the idea, though. You're like,
yeah, it was usually her. Yeah, it was usually her. And so that's been fun. Yeah. Lots of half marathons together. And she was signing up for an Ironman, and she was telling me about it. We were going for a walk, and I went, oh my, whoa, that seems insane. Like, okay, I'm in, so she really got me to do all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah.
I had no idea you've done an Ironman.
I did one. So it's really funny. I dabbled in try, but I did it this funny way. Like I did one sprint, one Olympic, and then one Ironman. Mm-hmm. And that Ironman, and then it was interesting because after that Ironman, I was like, all right, that was good. It was one of the best experiences of my life. So I'm really glad I did it, and it stayed with me forever. So
which one did you do?
Ironman Florida in 2013. And it was a great year. It's the swim I will never forget. So that sort of helped build me as a stronger athlete, mentally for sure.
Swim can be pretty tough. Yeah. Neat. All right. So we're talking about you as an athlete a little now, which is a great way to end it, which I want to know, as an athlete, what's your proudest athletic accomplishment or moment?
It would definitely be that swim in 2013, but that wasn't as a runner. So it felt a little different, and then I would say as a runner, breaking the 4-hour marathon, it was a big day. I was really proud of myself. But what was really interesting when I sort of reflected on the day was that I most remember that day halfway through the marathon, because I just remember realizing, wow, I'm okay. I toed the line, saying to myself, this is going to be a complete leap of faith. I'm going all in. I'm going to stay smart. And I remember halfway through realizing, you know what, I can do this today. And if I just hold on, don't overthink. I can tend to be an overthinker. So when I knew I had gotten to that point where I could just let go and not overthink and just go for it, it felt like just an incredible day. Yeah, I loved that feeling. And then I think from now on, you just sort of always seek that again. You just want that over and over again. So it took many years to get to that point. It took doing all the foam rolling and all the strength and drinking right and practicing the same breakfast for months. And I had to sort of dial in all those details, and I did. So it was a really proud moment for me.
Yeah. So that was more recent then.
That was in 2019.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, that and getting through that Ironman swim where I literally was so nervous because I could hear the waves crashing outside the hotel. A big storm had come through the night before. And of course, the day before, it looked like the Caribbean or something.
But that's how it is in Florida. Or it's going to be, yeah.
And overnight, the storm has to come in, and I could hear the waves, and I just thought, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I ate my breakfast laying down, and because I was so nervous, I could barely stand up, but I got through all those little steps, and made it to the water. And you line up with a couple thousand people, and you realize everyone is nervous, and everyone's excited, and all the energy. And I knew if I could just get started and just count the strokes, that I could make it. I was like, I'm here, I have to do it. So yeah. I felt like celebrating when I came out of the water. I felt like the rest of the day, I was like, I don't even care what happens.
Right.
I was like, everything else is easy.
Right.
Yeah. And I actually had a really good time. It was challenging, but I didn't have the fear of, what's going to happen. I was like, bring it. I can do it. Yeah. I got through that.
And it is, Ironman, and I think anytime you achieve something that you look back and say, I didn't think I could have ever done that. If you step into an earlier version of yourself, and then you accomplish that, it forever changes you.
Yeah.
And belief in all of the things that you can do.
I think I was doing the side stroke. That's all I could do before training for that Ironman. And so I had 11 months to train, and I went to the YMCA and signed up with master swimming. And it was the most rewarding part of all of that training. And that day was the fact that I made that happen. And it seemed impossible, so, and learning a new sport that I didn't even know I would love. So it's like, you just never know unless you give it a shot, So
and now you get to make the impossible possible for others.
Yeah. And I love it. I love being, I do. It's so fun to share stories, and you become friends too. We're all, the experience of being a coach, it's like you become friends with your athletes. And I was telling you earlier, I have an athlete, and she travels all over the world for work. And so she does marathons all over the world and sends me pictures, and I get to experience all these adventures with her. So I get a lot out of this too, by meeting really interesting people and keeping it fun. And like I said, that's to me the most important part.
Strong, happy runners.
Yes.
Thank you, Sadie, so much for taking the time to talk to me and to tell us all about your story.
Yeah, thank you so much, Reem. This was great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.